Alright, now if you're a veteran FPS player, this isn't going to be too useful to you. But if you are a newer player, this is going to be really helpful, I feel like. We have the first dummy here. You can see the L for light shield. We got medium shield and heavy shield. If you want to test out your different shields and your damage for those. So I recently just got my sons into this game and they found this information helpful. So I thought I'd pass it along. Starting with recoil and stitcher, probably the most reliable starter weapon on a free loadout. The closer you are, the more accurate this gun's going to be. Better it's going to be. So if I hold down the trigger now, and I do not drag my mouse, this is what happens. You can see that the recoil kicks the gun up. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag our mouse down to help try and control that recoil. So this is what it looks like. If we go to the bullet holes, you can see the grouping. This is kind of scattered and shifting up. And this is kind of all in the one spot where, you know, the body would be, for example. Now this is a tier 1 stitcher. As you level up the gun, you gain different benefits. If we were to move to stitcher level 4, which is the maximum level, you can see that we get a 50% reduced horizontal recoil and a 50% reduced reload time. I also have attachments on this, so I'm going to take them off. And I'll show you how this gun fires without attachments, and then I'm going to add attachments to it as well, because you'll see how important those are as the game goes on. So here is fire rate without pulling down on the mouse. You can see it kicks right up. And now we're going to do a controlled spray by pulling down. And we can see the bullet spray is once again grouped, whereas before it trails upward. Now we're going to put some attachments on. We're going to put a stock on, an angled grip, and inside one of these cases we can find ourselves a compensator or a muzzle brake. In this case I want a muzzle brake. We get reduced vertical recoil and reduced horizontal recoil. Chuck that on there. And now it's going to be even tighter. If we take a look at the grouping, you can see how tight that is compared to this right here. What does that mean? It means we're going to get more consistent headshots. Now with that being said, the stitcher works really good at close range. However, if you get some upgrades, it works pretty good at mid-range as well. Moving on to another reliable gun is the kettle. So the kettle is a close to medium range weapon, and it's actually decent long range, but not so much without being level 4. The kettle has low bullet velocity, which means the bullets travel slowly, which makes it hard to fire long range. So it is semi-automatic, which means we have to left click to shoot. That's without pulling down. The gun kicks up quite a lot. It's got quite a bit of recoil. But if we pull down as we fire, we can keep it a little more accurate. The kettle is really, really good for hitting headshots and taking out people fast. Just lighten them up like that. Makes light work of people, and it's quite accurate too. And it's also decent at range. So at mid-range, provided we tap, we can still hit our target pretty effectively with it. Now that being said, if we upgrade to a kettle, tier 4, if we add a muzzle brake to it, we get even more accuracy with it. So when you level up a kettle to tier 4, you get a lot more bullet velocity, which means that it can be fired from a decent distance away and still be pretty accurate. Now for starting weapons, I prefer the kettle or the stitcher for sure. But sometimes you're going to get a ferro, which is your long range heavy weaponry. The ferro is your rifle. Single shot, slow reload, but it packs a punch. It does about 40 damage per shot. And you can see the reload is absolutely awful. Now the tier 4 upgrade for ferro is very good for the reload speed. And if you're going to add an attachment, I recommend just adding a silencer. Just add a silencer because it only fires one bullet at a time. So adding any compensation or anything like that to it's not very valuable. You can see that it makes a lot less sound now, and it's also extremely fast reload. Now the Rattler is a pretty good mid-range weapon. It's pretty accurate compared to the other guns. Does 9 damage, so if you're going to take out someone with a single clip with 10 rounds, you're going to need to hit every headshot pretty much. If we hold down left click, this is what it looks like. You'll see that it has quite a large amount of recoil. And so we're going to need to pull down on our Rattler as well to hit our headshots. Now I also have here a tier 4 Rattler with some attachments on it. So now that it's a tier 4 Rattler, we have 22 rounds and we're easily able to take out an enemy with that. And the first decent heavy weapon you get is called the Anvil, which is a handgun. Carries 6 bullets, does 40 damage per shot. That's as fast as I can get it to fire at level 1. Moving on to level 4 Anvil, and this is what it feels like with the silencer. It's much quieter. You can see that it also shoots a lot faster as well. And moving on to settings, if we go into our controls. So if we go down to shoulder swap, I changed mine to mouse wheel down just because it's more convenient. And it's a really important button because it allows you to see around corners. And with the peeking, you want to make sure that you are really adept at the shoulder peek so that you can pop out, take your shot, and pop back into cover. What the enemy sees is minimal. They pretty much see half a body and a little bit of the gun sticking out, as opposed to a full body and getting full shots off. And you want to be able to swap quickly so that when you swap sides on corners, you're able to swap positions quickly and have that advantage. Alright, so say that's our enemy here. We want to make sure to have line of sight on this enemy. So you see this little crosshair dot in the middle. You can see that if I'm trying to shoot this thing here, you can see the dot is actually on the green cyan. That means that the shot is going to be impeded. We're not going to be able to take this thing out. So we want that dot to be on our target. See how it moves? Means our shot is impeded. There's another setting that we need to turn off. In accessibility, there is a block line of fire. Move crosshair when line of fire is blocked. Turn this off. This means that if you are blocked, your crosshair gets bent out of shape. I'll show you what it looks like. It's awful. So this is what it does. So I'm trying to aim for this guy here. You see my crosshairs all like moved over here. It's weird. Take that off. It's just awful. Whenever we want to move from A to B, we want to put our weapon away. You can see that we have 2 hands out and we run very fast. If I take my pistol out, you can see that we run a little bit slower. If I take my kettle out, we run slower again. And if I take out the ferro, we will run even slower again. So the weight of the gun affects how fast you are. The actual agility rating of the gun affects how slow you are when you run. So you want to make sure that your weapon's away. Even things like consumables, you can see with our shield charger out and we're running, we're slower. So we put it away and we speed up. You can see that our stamina is also draining. And if we slide, we can minimize the stamina drain. You can see it recover as we're sliding. So you can actually, if you want to get to A to B, run and slide. If you're really short for stims or adrenaline. The slide is great for taking out unsuspecting enemies. Slide around a corner and light someone up. It's an effective way of avoiding damage. We need to, say, run from here to here. We could run from A to B and slide into cover. Get ready to shoot. In Arc Raiders, we have 2 types of rolls. We've got the slow roll, which is a good way to avoid taking damage on the head if you're in the open and you need to fire back. We also have the sprint dive roll. Sprint dive roll is more for getting into cover. If you're sprinting somewhere and you need to dive quickly behind cover, you can do that. When using zip lines, if you're at the bottom of one and you click it, you'll go up. If you're at the top of one and you click it, you'll go down. But if you're in the middle of one and you look up, you will go up. If you're in the middle of one and you look down and click on it, you will go down. That's how zip lines work. So you can mitigate fall damage by dropping off platforms and grabbing onto a platform below. You can use this method to get down from pretty high places safely. Like that. And if you do a roll after a pretty high jump, up to a point, you're able to mitigate all fall damage as well. So from about here to here, I'd say we could probably take no damage, yeah. But if I don't roll, I'm pretty sure I take some damage there. Yeah, see? More movement options are vaulting. Another movement mechanic is if you're hanging onto a ledge, you're able to jump off the ledge and grab another one to the adjacent side. If you run too far and you fall off an edge, you can turn and quickly grab the ledge that you fall off. You're also able to do a ledge shimmy to the side. When climbing ladders, you're able to hold shift and traverse down them faster. Or you can fall off the ledge and grab the ladder last second if you need to get down extra fast. In order to stay alive in Arc Raiders, we're going to need healing. The basic healing is a bandage, which is made from 5 fabric. Keep in mind that you can also heal by using fabric if you're in a pinch. It heals a lot less than a bandage, but can also heal you as well. And the other healing item is a shield recharger, which can be crafted with an arc power cell that can be obtained from most arc that you take down, big or small, and rubber parts, which can be salvaged from multiple different things within the game. You'll find some junk in there in lockers or in a box or somewhere. You'll find these rubber parts and you can make these shield recharges. Now with that being said, I'm going to go over the skills that I think are the most valuable in the game. So starting with in-round crafting, this allows you to craft bandages and shield recharges in the match. In a match, you can press escape. Hit the crafting menu. This is from your talent tree. In the early stages, you can make heals, and you can make better heals and traps and different gadgets in the later stages as you unlock the higher tier of your talent tree. And then the second most important one, I think, is moving on to the Traveling Tinkerer. This allows you to craft things such as raider keys and utilities such as smoke grenades and stuff like that, which is pretty handy as well. Another useful perk is Broad Shoulders, which allows you to increase maximum weight by +10, and Looter's Instincts, which reveals loot faster when you click on bodies or you click on lockers or anything or a looting container. The loot is revealed faster. Moving on to use to the weight, wearing a shield does not slow you down as much. This talent point at level 5 mitigates the slowdown from the medium shield. So you're able to wear medium shield without losing any speed. Proficient Prior is another useful one that allows you to breach doors and containers in less time. It's about 2 to 3 seconds faster. And moving on to a little bit extra, breaching an object generates resources. For example, if you breach a door, it'll drop metal scrap and stuff like that. And then Loaded Arms. Your equipped weapons has less impact on your encumbrance, also overall weight, which is approximately half of your weapon weight for each weapon held. Moving on to mobility, I personally like Nimble Climber because I've been stuck on ledges in slow animation, especially when low stamina and I've been shot at. The Marathon Runner, moving around costs less stamina, is helpful. Increases your max stamina with Youthful Lungs is helpful. And Effortless Roll at level 5, I believe it gives you 2 extra rolls, which is also pretty useful too. Those are the most valuable perks. How you build your tree around those things is up to you. So here's some stats for you. I've spent a total of 97 hours up top side, which is actual in-game time. It does not include learning the maps or inventory management. I have taken out 96 players. I've played pretty peacefully for the majority of the game. I've only done 28 quests. To be honest, they don't interest me a whole lot. I'm max level, and I've also finished my expeditions. I feel like I've got a pretty good grasp of the game so far, and hopefully these tips helped. I hope you guys have a good day / night, and I'll catch you guys later. See ya.